Hey YouTube, it's me, John Avenger once again, and this is it, baby. This is it. My best, worst, and honorable mentions of 2016. Every film that I saw this year that I had to, put a list of because there were so many I saw this year, especially best of. My worst, I only have five, so we're gonna start with the worst stuff first to get the garbage out of the way, and then we're gonna get to the honorable mentions, and then right after that, the best. My top 10 films that floored me this year, at least in my eyes. Now, quick thing. There's going to be one dishonorable mention, and Rogue One will not be on any of these lists. I did not see the movie. I don't care about the movie. Stop asking me to review it. I didn't want to have the same experience I had last year with TFA, which I'll get to that when I get to my best of. And I don't want to hear any bitching about, oh, it's the best movie of the year. I'm like, no. I saw the movies that I could see as much as I did in 2016. Not the critical darlings, not the freaking art house flicks, what I wanted to see. And this is my list. So agree or disagree, that's cool, but don't be an asshole for saying, "Oh, you're a Star Wars fan, you didn't see Rogue One." It was not for me. I didn't go see it. So there we go. Anyway, this is my worst of list first. Let's get to it because I don't want to take 30 minutes on this. Number 5, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. Yeah, I know a lot of people. There were some people that actually liked this more than the 2014 movie. I didn't like it. This movie was a waste of time. Michael Bay is a crappy producer. He produces these Shrek Hulk looking things with bad CGI. The ending is a total ripoff of the Avengers, the first Avengers. It's just nonsensical. It's uninspired. Megan Fox still sucks as an actress. She cannot act at all. Will Arnett is wasted in the movie. Stephen Amell is wasted as Casey Jones. I don't buy him as Casey Jones. Him and Megan Fox had no chemistry whatsoever. The film felt bloated. It had some decent moments. I liked Bebop and Rocksteady. I liked the Technodrome, and I thought Jeremy Howard stole the show as Donatello's voice, and he was the best turtle in the movie. The rest of it was just nonsensical. The turtles are still not doing martial arts. They still look like Shrek Hulks. The film was way too bloated. They tried to do all this story in one movie and it failed. I think Secret of the Ooze is way better. That's a real Ninja Turtles too. Shredder was underused, barely in the freaking movie. Krang was okay, but you could have introduced him a lot sooner. And just the movie was really dumb. Like, I don't know why this got a sequel. I'm glad this didn't do as well as the first one because it was just stupid. And I never want to talk about this movie again. It's mediocre, and this was a summer full of that, and that's for sure. So that's my number 5. Number 4 is the most boring British film I saw this year that was theatrically released: Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. Fuck that movie. I could not finish that movie without reading the subtitles because I didn't want to hear British accents for over an hour and a half. This movie was dull. It had nothing. I hate the Pride and Prejudice stories. Not for me. It's just a really overrated book by Jane Austen, some romantic movie book about men and women falling in love, and it's just some British nonsense. I was just bored the whole freaking time. They waste actors like the guy that played Doctor Who. You got freaking the girl that plays Cinderella trying to be a badass, and it doesn't work. This movie's watered down. It's not R rated like it should have been, like Zombieland was. And the movie was just, it was nothing. Like, I really did not care for it. I was so bored. This movie had nothing. The action sequences were very forgettable. The CGI looked like shit. The movie tanked, and I'm glad it did. It did not deserve to be in theaters. It's a joke. It's a reason it flopped. I'm glad Deadpool kicked his ass, and I'm glad that there'll never be a sequel. Screw that movie. You Brits cannot entertain me. I'm sorry, for an hour and 20 minutes. You bored me to tears. You know what was a better movie that was done like this, that was ridiculed as well? Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Even though that movie was dumb, it was better than this, and it wasn't boring. So screw you, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, for boring me to tears this year. And such a sorry excuse for a February movie, too. I hated every second of it. Where's my water? This is gonna be a long one. So anyway, number 3, Gods of Egypt, the most over budgeted bad film I've seen in a very freaking long time. This film had horrible CGI. The cast was phoning it in. Like, you have Gerard Butler. After he did 300, this should have been like his magnum opus, and it was a pile of crap. The cast is horrible in this movie. You have the guy from Game of Thrones, which I think is an overrated show. That show, the only best thing to come out of that was Peter Dinklage. I hate anybody that gets casted from Game of Thrones in a movie. They don't deserve theatrical work. I'm sorry. That guy was boring. You got this 99 cents Aladdin with this Australian chick that couldn't act her way out of a box. Courtney Eaton, she was in Mad Max Fury Road, another overrated movie. This is worse, though. This is what happens when Hollywood doesn't give a shit. You have Chadwick Boseman, the guy that kicked ass in Civil War, which I'm going to get to in my best of, that he does an accent and he's like multiplied and he does nothing. It's a waste of a performance from him. This movie sucked. I'm glad it bombed. It has an awesome looking steelbook. That is the only praise I'm going to give for that movie. It was 2 hours of my life I'll never get back. A waste of a freaking cast. CGI that would have looked bad in 2006, more or less 2016. Why was this movie even made? You casted a bunch of white people to play Egyptians. It doesn't work. The only one that even looked kind of Egyptian was Chadwick Boseman, and he couldn't save the movie. This movie was dumb. It was boring. The CGI was a waste. It was a waste of a budget. This movie sucked. I hated it, and it was from the winter, so most of my movies were from the winter except for Ninja Turtles. But screw that movie. It deserves to be buried in the ground where it deserves to be with all the other flops of this winter. So that's my number three, Gods of Egypt. Terrible freaking movie. Avoid it if you can. Don't watch it. You'll be wasting your time. Just go see any other movie that takes place in Egypt. It'll be better than this. I guarantee it. Number two, we're getting to the nitty gritty here. The worst animated movie of the year. Nothing can top it. Norm of the North. God, this animated movie was so stupid. Like, I didn't know what was going on in this movie. There's only one decent part in this movie, and that's when Norm is in the city and he's dancing to Shut Up and Dance With Me. I love that song. That song is freaking awesome. Don't you dare look back. Just keep your eyes on me. That's gonna hold me down. Shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny. Awesome song. The rest of the movie is a pile of ass. You got horrible CGI animation. You got terrible voice acting. You got a plot that makes no freaking sense. They're trying to build houses in the Arctic next to the polar bears and the penguins and freaking Arctic life. What the hell is wrong with you, writers? Were you high when you came up with this movie? This being a year that gave us Finding Dory and Trolls and freaking Zootopia, and you give us this for the start of 2016. Some horribly direct to video animated movie. Why? Rob Schneider's not even the biggest problem in the movie. He's done some crap, but he's not the worst thing in this movie. He was trying. He had a shitty script. You have these little creatures pretending to be the minions from Despicable Me and failing at every respect. This film sucked. It was not a kids movie that was even good. It was horrible. It should have been on DVD shelves at Walmart like the week after it came out. I'm glad this movie tanked. It's forgotten. It got a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. Zero. Zero, zero, zero. No critics like this movie. It was critically panned. It's been forgotten. It's a direct-to-video film that they stuck into the theaters thinking that, oh, it's got Rob Schneider. It should be a huge hit. And it wasn't. Sorry, Rob, but you're not the old Adam Sandler. He could have done any animated movie and it would have made a ton of money, but he's even in the shitter now. But just don't do another animated movie like this, please, Rob Schneider. I liked you in Big Daddy. Even Surf Ninjas, I can tolerate you. I don't even mind him in Home Alone 2. This is one of his worst films that he's done without Adam Sandler. It's nonsensical. It's horribly acted. The animation sucks. It's got one decent song, and that is it. That is the only saving grace of the movie. That song, Shut Up and Dance With Me, is awesome. I will defend that song until my dying breath. But this movie, I will never defend. It's shit. Don't see it. And I had to subject myself to that. But that one scene was good. But the rest of the movie sucks. Don't show this to your kids. They can see something way better. Now, before I get to my worst of, dishonorable mention, this is the only one I mentioned, and I know my friend's going to be pissing me for saying this, Suicide Squad. I didn't care for the movie. I saw it in the theater. I felt ripped off. Not enough Joker. Harley Quinn was a freaking annoying. I didn't care about Margot Robbie's crazy performance. She can suck my dick. I can't stand Aussie actresses like her. She's just crazy. Anne Hathaway would have been better. Will Smith was awesome. Viola Davis was trying, and there was some action that was competent. The rest of the movie was an edited mess. It sucked. The Enchantress sucked. Jai Courtney was annoying. Look, fire, fire, fuck you, Jai Courtney. He's an annoying piece of shit in this movie. He finally uses his accent, and he's annoying. Katana was underused. The Killer Croc looked like shit. Uh, Diablo was just a ripoff of every fire, superhero and villain I've seen. Pyro and Human Torch. I've seen it already. Fire moves are not impressive to me. And the ending was one of the worst and sloppily put endings I've ever seen. The Batman cameo was also cool, and the Flash. This movie made me grateful that Justice League is not going to have these characters. Give me a better Joker, and we will get one next year with the Lego Batman movie. So fuck you, Warner Brothers, for doing that. That's all I got to say about that. I don't want to review that movie till next year because what a disappointment. But it wasn't bad enough to be in my worst of. So I cut it some slack because Will Smith was great. That is it for the main cast. Everybody else was either underused or I didn't give a fuck. Anyway, that wasn't my worst film. My worst film of 2016, a film that I actually thought the trailer was decent. Then I saw the movie and the movie was a lie. It was boring and I felt like I was watching soulless actors for the whole freaking experience. The Fifth Wave. Give me a moment. I need to just sink this in. Ooh, fuck me hard. Oh, my sweet butter mother of pie. This movie was freaking terrible. I saw this movie on my computer. I did not see this in the theater. I knew this movie was going to suck. I saw the trailer and I was like, okay, this movie might be interesting. It has a decent premise, but it was like The Host and Invasion of the Body Snatchers done completely wrong. And I'm talking about The Host from 2013, the worst movie I saw that year. Chloe Grace Moretz is not a badass in this movie. She doesn't do anything. She is just lifeless. She's surrounded by actors that don't give a fuck. You got Liev Schreiber, and he gives a lifeless performance. You got this freaking British guy that is all over her, and I'm like, Chloe Grace Moretz is not 25, right? She was like 17 when she did this movie, 16 or 17, and she's with some guy that's almost 30. Very creepy. I'm sorry, it doesn't work for me. It was creepy, and then the rest of the film is just the action sucked. It was so toned down. It was a young adult novel I never heard of, and after seeing this movie, I never want to read that novel. I would burn it along with Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey and all that bullshit that we don't need in this world. This movie's just lifeless. I felt like I was watching Jurassic World again. The actors were not trying at all. The extras were kind of underused. It felt like a movie that felt it was an hour and a half. It felt like 2.5 hours. I was just like, God, please let this movie end. Let it end. My pain needs to end. This movie is sucking the life out of me. And it was a boring ass movie from January. Oh, how wrong I was to see this movie. For everybody that said that BVS was one of the most boring films of all time and of this year, see Fifth Wave and you're gonna be grateful for BVS. At least you got a good lead in that. But that's my worst of. I hated Fifth Wave. It bored me to tears. There's no other movie this year that could have bored me even more because there were a lot of bad horror films, and you had Fembusters, and you had Independence Day. Those are just reboots we didn't need. This was a film, not an original film, based on a book that I didn't give a shit about in the first place, and the movie bored me to death. Don't see this movie. Sean, Parker, Tevya, Josh, Anthony, do not watch this movie. It will suck the freaking joy out of your face, and it will make you feel like you're a lifeless zombie. It was that boring, and it's ineptly made, and it's a shame because Chloe Grace Moretz could do better than this. See her in Kick Ass, and see her, and she gives a better performance than that, or Hugo, or anything she's done before this. She's much better than this. Fuck this movie. I hate this movie. It was on sale at Black Friday. I wanted to just throw it through the freaking roof. That's how bad the Fifth Wave is. It is lifeless. You can do a lot of things to me this year, but if you bore me to death, your movie dies instantly. That's all I got to say with the worst of 2016. Time to get to the honorable mentions. So I will see you in the next one.